Think about every person you've been confused about, every situation where you couldn't tell if it was real or imagined, every moment you replayed trying to figure out just what it meant. The answer was never really in the words, it was in the body, and nobody ever taught you how to read it. Because we live in a world that teaches us what attraction is supposed to feel like, but almost nothing about what it actually looks like. Body language is the language that runs underneath every conversation you've ever had. It's the system that your brain and your body use to communicate what words can't say or won't say. And according to research from UCLA by Albert Murabian, communication is over 90% nonverbal when it comes to feelings and attitudes, which means if you're only listening to what people say, you're missing almost the entire story. Today, we're going to go through all 17 signs, the ones your body already knows how to send and the ones you've been missing in the people around you. And more importantly, what to do with each one when you spot it. Because reading the signal is only half the job. Knowing how to respond is what separates people who connect from people who just wonder what happened. Stay with me because once you learn to read this language, you can't unlearn it, and the way that you move through every room for the rest of your life will never quite be the same. Now, before we get into the signs, here's something that you need to understand about why body language works the way that it does. Your body's not lying to you. It cannot. The limbic brain, the part that governs emotion and instinct, that responds faster than conscious thought. So before your date has decided whether they like you, their body has already voted. Before your colleague has processed whether they find you attractive, their feet have already turned towards you. The signals that we're about to cover aren't performances, they're involuntary outputs of a nervous system that's trying to get closer to something that it wants, which is exactly what makes them so reliable. Sign 1, they point at you with their body. So when someone's attracted to you, their torso, their knees, their feet, all of it turns in your direction, even in a group, even when they're talking to someone else. Social psychologist Desmond Morris called this body pointing, the unconscious orientation of the physical self towards whatever the brain finds most compelling. So next time you're in a group setting, forget the faces, just look at the feet. Feet don't lie. They always point towards what and who the person actually wants to be facing. So what to do if someone you like is doing that towards you? Mirror it. Turn your body directly towards them. This signals reciprocity without saying a word. Sign 2, they reduce the distance. We each carry an invisible bubble of personal space. For most acquaintances, that space is maintained, but someone who is pretty attracted to you, they're going to quietly, gradually close it. They find reasons to stand closer. So they're going to lean in when they speak. They're going to sit at the end of the bench that puts them nearest to you. Edward Hall, the anthropologist who coined the term proxemics, he identified intimate space as anything under 18 inches. So if someone is voluntarily and repeatedly entering that zone with you, that's not accidental. That's the body trying to narrow the gap between where it is and where it wants to be. Here's what to do. Don't back away, hold your ground or close it slightly. You're giving them confirmation without having to say a word. Sign 3, their pupils dilate when they look at you. This is one of the most involuntary signals on the entire list. Pupil dilation is controlled by the autonomic nervous system, so the part of you that also manages your heartbeat and your breath. When the brain encounters something desirable, the pupils expand to let in more light, more detail, more of what it wants to see. Research from the University of Chicago has shown that people rate images of faces with larger pupils as more attractive, and they don't know why. They just feel it. If someone's pupils expand when they look at you, especially when the lighting hasn't changed, then their nervous system just told you something that their mouth hasn't said yet. What to do? Hold eye contact with them just a beat longer than usual. Not a stare, just a hold. That acknowledges the signal and returns it without having to name it. Sign 4, they find excuses to touch you, not in a boundary crossing way, in the small, almost accidental way that reveals everything. A hand on your arm when they laugh. Brushing your hand when they pass something, a touch on the shoulder when they're making a point. Touch researcher Tiffany Field at the University of Miami, she's shown that the skin is the most direct pathway for social bonding. And when someone's attracted to you, the nervous system begins to seek physical contact. Slowly, incrementally, just testing whether the touch is welcome. These tiny touches are not accidents. They're feelers. They're your body saying, can I get closer? So if this happens, here's what to do. Respond warmly, a smile, a quick touch back, continuing the conversation without retreating. You're confirming that contact is safe. Sign 5, they mirror your movements. If you lean back, they lean back. If you cross your arms, a few moments later, they might cross theirs too. If you slow your speech, theirs slows down too. This is called isopraxism. It's the automatic, unconscious mimicry of another person's posture and behavior. Neuroscientist Vittorio Galisi's research on mirror neurons shows that our brains literally simulate the actions of people that we're connected to. Mirroring is your body's way of saying, I'm attuned to you, I'm in sync with you, and I want to be like you. When you notice someone consistently echoing your physical behavior, you're watching attraction happen in real time. Here's what to do. Test it deliberately. Change your posture and see if they follow within the next 30 to 60 seconds. If they do, you have your answer. Sign 6, their voice changes around you. Not dramatically, it's subtle. Research from the University of Southern California has shown that when people are attracted to someone, their vocal pitch and their pace shift. Women's voices, they drop slightly, becoming warmer. Men's voices also shift in pitch and become more modulated. There's also a slowing down, so the same way that you slow down when you want to stay in a conversation. Pay attention to whether someone's voice sounds different with you than it does with others in the room. If the tone softens, the pace slows, the volume drops just slightly, you might have graduated from acquaintance to someone that they want to linger with. Here's what to do. Slow your voice down, bring your volume down slightly. You're creating a sonic intimacy that separates your conversations from the rest of the room. Sign 7. They make themselves more visible to you. Watch for the person who suddenly sits up straighter when you walk in, who adjusts their hair or their clothes the moment that they see you. The person who positions themselves where you can't miss them. This is called preening, and it's entirely involuntary. Primatologist Frans de Waal documented this in both animals and humans. When we detect the presence of someone that we're attracted to, our bodies immediately begin self-presentation behavior. We make ourselves bigger, cleaner, more visible. If someone straightens up when you enter the room, they just told you something important without even opening their mouth. Here's what to do. Acknowledge them directly and early. A greeting, eye contact, a genuine smile. You're confirming that you saw them and that it mattered to you. Sign 8. They hold eye contact just a fraction longer than necessary. We look at people all the time without it meaning anything, but there's a specific quality of eye contact that's just different. It's a hold that goes just past the socially neutral point before breaking. Psychologist Zick Rubin at Harvard found that couples in love spent far more time in mutual gaze than strangers or friends. When someone's attracted to you, they struggle to look away. Their eyes are trying to gather information about you, to feel connected, to hold that moment just a little bit longer than the conversation requires. If you catch someone's gaze and there's a pause before either of you breaks contact, something is being communicated in that pause. Here's what to do. Don't rush to look away. Let the moment land. A slow, natural break, like looking down or to the side, is far more powerful than a quick glance away. Sign 9. They laugh more around you and at things that aren't that funny. Laughter is one of the most reliable attraction signals on this list, and it's probably one of the most underestimated. Evolutionary psychologist Jeffrey Miller has shown that laughter is a bonding signal. It's a sign that someone is in a state of openness and pleasure in your company. So when someone's attracted to you, your jokes become that much funnier to them. Your observations become wittier, and the threshold for laughter just starts to lower. You don't need to actually be funnier, you just need to be the one that they want to connect with. If someone laughs easily and often in your presence, probably more than the material warrants, that's not politeness, that's pleasure, especially if it's different than what they do with everyone else. Here's what to do. Lean into it. Share something that you find genuinely funny and watch their reaction. Real laughter in return seals the loop. Sign 10, their face lights up when they see you. Not just a polite smile, but a whole face shift. It's called the Duchenne smile. It involves the orbicularis oculi muscle around the eyes, and it cannot be voluntarily faked. When someone's genuinely happy, the skin around their eyes crinkles, their cheeks lift, and the change happens in under a quarter of a second. So if someone's face changes when you walk in, not just their mouth, the bottom half of their face, but their whole expression. Their nervous system just registered your presence as a reward. Here's what to do. Match it. Warmth returned is warmth doubled. This is how trust between two people accelerates. Sign 11, they find reasons to stay in the conversation, not just by trying to be interesting, but by asking questions. They're steering the topic. They're adding threads that need following. So when someone's attracted to you, they're not trying to end conversations. They're actually trying to extend them. Every question they ask is a small rope thrown across the gap between you and them. Every new thread that they introduce is an attempt to delay the moment where the connection has to stop. So watch for the person who always seems to be finding one more thing to say to you just as they're about to wrap up. It's not necessarily that they're bad at endings, but they're good at wanting to stay. Here's what to do. Give them an easy way to continue. Ask something back. Suggest continuing the conversation elsewhere. If you open the door and they walk through, well, then you know. Sign 12. They remember the small things that you said. You mentioned your favorite coffee order 3 weeks ago and they remember it. You happen to say in passing that you grew up near the coast and they bring it up later. Memory, when it comes to attraction, is a form of devotion. And when someone's interested in you, their brain files what you say. And it does this because information about you feels important to retain. Neuroscientist Antonio Damasio's work on emotion and memory shows that we encode information more deeply when it's emotionally significant. So if someone is retaining the small, unremarkable details of your life, their brain has flagged you as significant. Here's what to do. Acknowledge it, not with surprise, but with warmth. Saying, "You remembered that," is 4 words that make someone feel seen in a way that deepens attraction instantly. Sign 13, their breathing changes around you. This is also one of the most overlooked signals on the list. When the nervous system is in a state of attraction or arousal, respiration increases. The breath becomes slightly shallower. Sometimes you'll notice this as a small pause before they speak, a slightly faster rate of speech, or a quiet intake of breath when you make eye contact. It's your body responding to the presence of something that it wants. So if you notice someone's breathing change when you're close to them, when they hold it slightly or when it quickens, their automatic nervous system just gave you the most honest reading it knows how to give. Here's what to do. Slow down your breath deliberately. A calm, regulated nervous system is unconsciously contagious. You will bring them down into the connection rather than letting the moment scatter. Sign 14, they protect you physically. This is not a dramatic move, but it is instinctive. It might be a hand at the small of your back guiding you through a crowd, moving between you and traffic when you're walking on the road, blocking the door open so that you can pass. These are all protective behaviors and they're rooted in evolutionary biology and they're documented extensively in primatology research. They are the body saying, "I'm aware of your safety. I am including you in my circle of concern." You don't have to be in danger for this to appear either. Any small act of physical consideration like making space, guiding, or shielding, that's the nervous system expressing care through the body. Here's what to do. Receive it gracefully. Thank you. A look. A small moment of acknowledgement. Dismissing these gestures sends a signal that you probably don't intend. Signal 15, they get uncomfortable when others get close to you. Watch their body when someone else enters your personal space, when a colleague leans in, maybe when a friend hugs you hello. If they stiffen slightly or if their eyes start tracking the contact, if their whole body reorients towards you in that moment, what you're seeing is a proximity response. The body's registering that something it values is momentarily close to something else. It's not aggression, it's attention. The body's telling you who they consider to be important territory. And it's not necessarily in a possessive way, but it's in a way that reveals where someone has already emotionally invested. Here's what to do. Nothing dramatic, but just file it. This is the body showing you that the investment is already there, whether or not they've said a word about it. Sign 16. They tilt their head when you speak. The head tilt is one of the most disarming and genuine signals of engagement and interest that the human body produces. It's a vulnerability display. Exposing the neck, the most physically vulnerable part of the body, to the person in front of you. Well, in attraction research, it consistently appears as a signal of both interest and trust. When someone tilts their head as you speak, they're not just listening. They're communicating that they are open to you. They're not guarded with you. That the words that are coming out of your mouth are worth turning their whole self toward. Here's what to do. Slow down. Give them something worth leaning into. It might be a question, a little revelation, or a moment of genuine depth. They've just told you that they're listening at a level that most people don't. Sign 17. They find you in the room before anything else. When they walk in, their eyes don't scan the whole room neutrally. They just find you first. When they're talking to someone else, their glance crosses the room and it lands on you. Not for any reason, but just because that's where their attention defaults. This is called social referencing. It's an automatic orientation of attention towards the person who matters most in a given environment. It's the body's way of continuously checking in with what it values. If you notice that you're consistently the first place that someone looks when they enter, or the person that they keep returning to visually throughout a gathering, you're not imagining it. You are their reference point. Here's what to do. When your eyes meet across the room, hold the moment. Don't look away first, because this is the conversation that happens before the conversation. Here's what all 17 of these signs have in common. None of them require words. None of them are performances. They are involuntary, honest, unedited outputs of a nervous system that has already made a decision, even if the person hasn't consciously admitted it yet. The body leads and the words follow, sometimes by days, sometimes by weeks, sometimes even by years. And here's the other thing. These signals work in reverse. Every single one of them. If you understand what attraction looks like in someone else's body, then you understand what you're broadcasting with your own. The way that you point your body, the space that you close or you keep, the eye contact that you hold or you break, the way that your face changes or doesn't when a certain person walks in. You're already having this conversation. You've been having it your whole life. The only question is whether you're now having it consciously.